What's going on, everyone? The Bad Habits here, aka TBH. Welcome to yet another video. On today's show, we're not doing a movie review, we're not doing an episode of the shit show or games that raised me. No, today we're doing something a little bit different. As of the day this video will be uploaded, July 12th, 2024, TBH here will have officially turned 30 years old. So, goddamn, that's scary. Anyway, I want to celebrate this a little bit different than I did last year. I was on a huge Mission Impossible high, so, to celebrate, I was doing all 7 films. I did the OG trilogy, the sequel trilogy, and then I reviewed Dead Reckoning Part 1. Is it even still Part 1? Who knows? But since now I'm turning the big 3-0, I thought it'd be nice to do something a little off the beaten path. So join me, if you will. I'm going to go through 30 years of my life, and within return, 30 years of film. Let me say this early on. I'm fully aware 30 is not an old age. Let me tell you folks, it is not about the year the car releases. It's about the mileage on the car and has the car been maintained. Looking at me, I'm gonna say I could use a little more maintenance at the very least. So sure, in reality I'm 30 years old. In my mind, if I'm being honest with you, I've been 30 plus for a long fucking time. So here we are. The way this video will work, it's very simple. I'm going to go through each year of my life, that's 1994 through 2024. Hopefully we got many more years to come, because I would love to do a sequel to this someday. But we're going to go through each year, and I'm just going to quickly talk about a film that meant a lot to me. These are films that have significance to me one way or another. Some of these will be amazing films that maybe you even love. Meanwhile, some of these are going to be like prime shit show episodes, so stay tuned. First up, I'm going to go with 1994's Pulp Fiction, okay? Now, this film honestly hasn't aged well, a lot like TBH here. Frankly, this was one of my favorite movies. Even 10 years ago, I would have said that. This would have been one of the first things that come to mind. It's really great, but there's some segments that, frankly, I could live without. I'll just put it that way. And as honorable mentions, I decided to throw in Leon the Professional. I love this movie. There will be an episode of Old Habits Die Hard on this film. Stay tuned. But I'm going to be honest, there's this ugh factor that, frankly, I'll just wait for the review. Also from 1994, True Lies. I got the 4K edition. This is a goddamn treasure and also has not fully aged well. My pick for 1995, I actually don't have in my collection. So instead, we're going to use the internet to provide some images for me. 1995's Toy Story, y'all. Now, this film was super influential. If I'm not mistaken, it was the first film of CG animation. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this one, it was a huge landmark. Now, I used to watch the shit out of this one. Specifically, Toy Story 1 was my favorite. So much so that eventually one of my sisters just threw away the tape, and that was the end of it. No more Buzz, no more Woody. Quickly, we're going to move on to 1996. For that year, I'm going to go with Mission Impossible. Now, this is the first one that Tom Cruise did. This is a sequel to the original series from the 60s. I mentioned earlier how I did an entire video series dedicated to these films. Please check that out. It was a great fucking time, but yeah, I have a weak spot for Mission Impossible 1. Ooh, okay, so let me warn you. My next pick for 1997. This one's controversial. Alright, one of my favorite bad movies of all time, The Pest. Yes, I've talked about this movie a million times. I even did a really short video It was sort of a primitive version of the shit show, but yeah, best believe there will be a dedicated episode on this film someday. They cover every fucking stereotype possible, and they pretty much leave no stone unturned. John Leguizamo, y'all. My picks for 1998. First up, we have Blade. This is the first superhero film that I fell in love with, hands down. I remember we had the VHS copy of this, and just like Toy Story, I used to wear this sumbitch out. The amount of cheese in this film, just bravo. Also, for 1998, as a honorable mention, I brought out H2O, Halloween 20 Years Later. Whew, okay, so this one's a little complicated. Upon a rewatch about 2-3 years ago, I wasn't a huge fan of this one. Now, there's still some parts that I absolutely love, but yeah, before 2018's Halloween, I probably would have said this was my favorite sequel. Not so much now, but hey, it's an honorable mention. Now it's time for 1999. I'm gonna do an honorable mention first, and bear with me, folks. End of Days, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, this film, I've only just recently saw this for the first time. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite bad movies. It's just a good time. Yes, ignore the title and the subject matter, but I had a fucking ball with this one. It's on the list. But my proper pick for 1999 is, whoa, The Matrix. Do I really need to say more?
Nope.
Alright, so for 2000, I also do not have a copy for, so thank you, Internet. For 2000, I'm going to go with Castaway. Tom Hanks, Helen Hunt. Oh, man, this is... Oh, I'm sorry, don't forget Wilson, the volleyball. Honestly, that's the real star. This film, I saw at an age where I didn't quite understand everything. Sure, I got the concept of being alone on an island for years. I got that, but looking back at it as an adult, 20 plus years later, I still love this film. There's no way around it. This one puts me in a place where just, I don't know, it gets me. And before the waterworks start, let's go to 2001. Quickly, I might add, 2001, I'm going to go with Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. This here's my DVD copy. This here's the extended edition. If you haven't seen a proper Lord of the Rings film, start with this one, obviously. You wouldn't start with Two Towers or Return of the King. Start with Fellowship of the Ring. And I mean this one, the theatrical cut. If you love it, then try the extended. Oh, 2002, baby. Let's get funky. Undercover Brother. What can I say about this film? There will be a retro movie review on this someday. I adore this film, and I think it gets better with age. The stereotypes hit hard, and yet they're still hilarious. Billy D. Williams show up, Dave Chappelle, Neil Patrick Harris. It's a fucking loaded film. Speaking of loaded films, I'm gonna go with 2003's Pirates of the Caribbean. Need I say more? Really? This is easily... What's a better Pirates film? Okay, even outside of this series, I really couldn't think of a better pirate film. This one is perfect. Jeffrey Rush? Goddamn terrifying. And I'm very mad I didn't put him in my top 10 scariest villains list from last October. Yeah, maybe there will be a sequel this year. Who knows? And as an honorable mention, y'all, now if you know me, you know I have a weakness for this film. For this one, I pulled out my old DVD copy that I got for free, if I'm not mistaken, back in the day. Normally speaking, I would just watch Too Fast from this collection that I have, but hey, I wanted to go old school. Alright, so that means we're moving on to 2004. We're almost one decade down. Thank you for sticking with me, by the way. I really appreciate you. This time I'm going to do my honorable mention first. Spider-Man 2. And yes, this is a bootleg copy. I don't care. Say what you want. TBH still got his bootleg that he bought off the street 20 years ago. It's my favorite of the Spider-Man films from that era. You know, 1 and 2 are goated, and I love 3 as a guilty pleasure. But my proper pick will be 2004's Shaun of the Dead, aka How to Adult. This is one of those films that I saw at a young age, and I knew that I loved it probably because I found it to be funny on the jokes that I could understand at least. And fuck it, I was 10 years old. It's a zombie film. You probably had my money anyway. Wow. 1 decade down, 2 to go. Next, now we're on to 2005. Hard to believe that's almost 20 years next year. Jesus Christ. But 2005 was a huge year for me as far as film wise. That was a year me and my family were going to the drive-in theater a lot. I mean, I saw a lot of films there. Unleashed, War of the Worlds, and the next film I'm going to talk about, Hustle and Flow, is a really unique film. I will say it probably hasn't aged well today based on some of the subject matter, but man, I still absolutely adore this film no matter what. Definitely looking forward to doing a retro review next year when it turns 20. Also, for this year, I do not have an honorable mention. I just legit have 2 picks. So, my second pick, in no particular order, Brokeback Mountain. Yes, now when I saw this, I knew this was something special. This is a movie that I was ashamed to tell people I liked as a kid, if I'm being honest. If you weren't straight, you got laughed at or beat up, so shit like that, Brokeback Mountain, that was something that didn't fly in my community. So in a way, I was closeted and didn't even realize it. Cut to almost 20 years later, I now live with my boyfriend. I have a happy life that I'm just happy to share with, all 5 of you. Maybe 6 of you, I don't know. But either way, thank you so much. Alright, so now we're on to 2006. We're going to do honorable mentions first. I have Little Miss Sunshine, Jackass 2. These films they have nothing to do with one another besides the fact that they came out the same year and that there's humans involved. And the actual pick will be Children of Men. God damn it, dude. I'm not saying shit. Watch this film. That's it. 2007? Alright, so now I'm officially a teenager. A lot is going on, especially down there. Oh man, let's see. What are we pulling out first? 1408. Now this is an underrated gem in my opinion. I don't hear anyone talk about this film, but yeah, this will be my honorable mention. With that being said, we're going to go with 2007's I Am Legend. Now that is my pick for the year because no matter how many times I watch this film, man, it's just a beautiful film, even though it's really ugly and looks very 2007. Honestly, it kind of looks like it was made with Unreal Engine 3, and the alternate ending is much better than the original one. I believe that they're going to use the alternate ending with the sequel, if that moves forward. Look forward to that. My pick for 2008. Let's see here. I'm going to cheat and go with 2 of them of equal value. 2008's Tropic Thunder and The Wrestler. Now, I did a video on The Wrestler back in December of 2023. That was a very special video because I did a collaboration with Fake Name Game. Check his channel out if you're into game videos. But yeah, this movie, I covered just about everything I needed to say in that video. I changed nothing. It gets the same rating it got. Tropic Thunder. This is a film that I feel like is kind of universally still loved, even with its controversies. Yes, you know the ones. I don't need to say it. But yeah, I think it aged well, and it's still funny to this day. Next up, we have 2009 selection. That means we're officially halfway through this video, and hopefully there's more ahead of me, but as of now, half of my life. I'm going to go with the honorable mention first, Zombieland. If you haven't seen it, you need to. You could probably skip the sequel. I'm not a big fan of that one, but shit, the original, the OG, no, still good to this day. They shoot Bill Murray, which should be illegal in any film. That being said, my official pick will be 2009's Watchmen. Now, I'm talking about the director's cut. I just did an episode of Old Habits Die Hard, so once again, if you want to know my opinions on this one, check it out. Holy shit, it's 2010, y'all. Honorable mention first, I'm gonna go with MacGruber. This is one of the best, worst movies. It is a parody film, so it's fully aware that it's bad. But no, this is still worthy of my time. Maybe there'll be an episode of The Shit Show or Old Habits Die Hard. Who knows? That being said, I'm gonna go with The Crazies. I just rewatched this about maybe a month or two ago. Still one of my favorite films from that year. It's not a terrifying film that kept me up all night or anything like that, but there's a lot of fucked up shit going on here, and it's kind of realistic in its approach, at least, in some aspects. Radha Mitchell and Timothy Oliphant, they're great together. I wanted to see them do a sequel to this film. And that is another year down. Now let's go to 2011, okay? Let's do the shit. I have 2 honorable mentions. I'm gonna go with Fast 5 and The Hangover Part 2. This is everything Part 1 was, but it's funnier in my opinion. It's just in a different location, but I don't know why I love Hangover Part 2. I don't want to watch Hangover Part 1 again unless we're doing The Shit Show. And my other honorable mention, Fast 5, this was the one that really broke the series and really put it into the mainstream. It's essentially Fast and Furious meets the Avengers. It's really hard to top this film. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. Full disclosure, I'm currently rewatching all of them, including Hobbs and Shaw, so I might be working on something. Who knows? Overall, we're gonna go with Scream 4. Now, that is the best film of 2011, in my opinion. This one, it rivals the first film, which I didn't include for that year. Apologies, but yeah, this one is almost perfect for a Scream film. The year is 2012, and this is probably one of the biggest years of my life, folks. And not just cinema-wise. Frankly, this is a really crazy year in my life, and I like to think that my next few picks for this year, 4 to be exact, that should represent how I felt. At this point, the MCU's been just going on for 4 years. We've gotten so much craziness and shit that I never expected to see. Iron Man, Thor, Incredible Hulk, Captain America, and then a bunch of other people in these films, and they're all culminating. It's 2012's Avengers. There's no way around it, okay? Except, fuck that film. I don't like it. Let's go with the honorable mentions. We're gonna have Flight and Argo. Really different films. I don't know what to say. I watched this recently. It's tense as all hell. This one is... It's interesting, in my opinion. It might be a bad movie. I don't know. But I fucking love it. I think Denzel fucking killed it. The direction is great. John Goodman really steals the show in this one. But yeah, no, I love Flight. No way around it. And with that being said, the actual pick will be 2012's Looper. This is a film that I do not fully understand because it's related to time travel, and I don't have enough time in my life to figure that shit out. Woo! Let's get cray. You know why? Because it's 2013, and that's what people said. It's just a bunch of party music and dubstep and someone singing shot, 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 shots. Just shit like that. I'm done with that already. 2013's honorable mention, Hangover Part 3. I do not know why this one got a lot of hate. I really appreciate that they really did do something different. perhaps making part 2 a remake of part 1. That might be what shot them in the foot for this part 3. I don't know, but it's underrated and it's a dark comedy for sure. And lastly for that year, This Is the End. This is definitely one of the more influential comedies to me. At the time, this crew right here, that was just, yeah, that was everything. A lot has changed in 11 years since I've seen this film, but no, I still hold it high. It's, be aware, it won't be for everyone. All right. Holy shit. At this point, that means it's 2014 time. Let me be real with you right now. I've got 3 picks, no honorable mentions. These are all 3 bangers that I ride or die for. First up, we have Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Just did a video before Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes release where I went through all the Caesar trilogy films. Check that out. Next up, Interstellar. I still don't understand this one because there's time travel and black holes, shit that's way too big for my mind to understand. But I love it to death, and I can rewatch it, listen to the score. It's aged well. 2014's Fury. This is a film I wanted to go see with my friends when it released. I was really mad I didn't make it, but once I saw this, I think I rented it from the library at some point later. I really can't quite put it into words. This year, 2014, it was just stacked, and there will be videos on each 3 of these films at some point. With that being said, we're 2 decades down, people. Holy shit. I feel like I'm just... honestly don't know if I can put it into words, but this has been a revelation of sorts for me. I'm literally looking back at my growth from, films that I loved 20 years ago. I watched them yesterday and I fucking hate them. It's completely crazy how life goes full circle, and some things you double down on and some things you backtrack on. It's amazing for me to see my own growth as a person, and I sincerely hope that they somehow translate into these videos for you, all 6 of you. 2015, the year I turned 21 and was legally allowed to have my first drink. I'm not going to incriminate myself here, but if I'm being honest, drinking wasn't so fun once I hit of age. For 2015, I'm going to pull up the honorable mention first. Mad Max Fury Road. Before you start typing, yes, I know this film is universally loved. I also love this film. But being real with you, I didn't love it my first initial viewing. I think it probably took 2 or 3 times to really start to understand it. But once I did, this motherfucker just kicked into high gear. Next up, we have Straight Outta Compton. Do not go to this if you want the real, authentic story. But if you want a entertaining film version that sort of sums most of these things up, go with this right here. And with that being said, even though the other 2 are not honorable mentions, I will put Creed 1 above all the other ones. If you're watching this video, I just posted a video on Creed 3, so check that out. I know it's not Creed 1. It's on my list, folks, of all-time favorites. 2016. All right, so with that being said, it's Deadpool, y'all. There's no way around it. Psych. Batman vs. Superman, Ultimate Edition. I don't care. Love this film. Nothing changed. Now, for 2017, I'm going to go with my honorable mention of Thor Ragnarok. It's easily regarded as the best Thor film of its time. Regardless of how you feel about Love and Thunder, that's entirely up to you. This is probably my favorite MCU film. It's tied, if not, okay? So let that be known. And lastly, for 2017, War for the Planet of the Apes and Logan. I'm not gonna say more on these. I've I've talked so much about these films. Oh shit, 2018. All right, y'all. So in 2012, the Avengers released, and we already know how big of a deal that was. Maybe not to me, but to the general just population, but to just general pop culture. With that being said, 2018's Infinity War, this is my honorable mention. We will cover this one day. It's just a little too massive to deal with right now. My official 2 picks for 2018. I'm going to go with Halloween, Mission Impossible, Fallout. These are some of the best sequels in the series. No way around it. If you saw my Mission Impossible video, you might see that this one's really highly rated. I haven't done a Halloween 2018 video, but I did review the OG version with my good friends Twin Wrestle Pod and the Black Enigma Gaming. Check them out. They had a lot to say as well. Alright, so now at this point I'm getting ready to turn 25. Once again, we're going to go with an Avengers film. This one's Endgame. I don't think it's better than Infinity War, but this is just a moment in history, not just cinema. This is just, there's too much going on. I don't know what to say. Another honorable mention, John Wick 3. Now, this might be my favorite. I'm really torn between 1, 3, and 4. But yeah, now this is a good, fun watch. I put this on when I'm editing or something because I've seen it a million times. But in all sincerity, my favorite film of 2019, El Camino. Yes, I have the UK import. I did a 5 years later video on this where I mentioned how I was worried that I would develop an English accent after watching it. Let me apologize to my good friends at Movies and Beyond. Y'all deserve better. Alright, so 2020, the year of the apocalypse as far as I'm concerned. This one, there's not a lot for me to really hold on to cinema-wise. I think I only went to the cinemas twice that year. I saw Bad Boys for Life, and then the selection I'm going to go with, Birds of Prey. Now, I do not own this film yet. I got to find it online somewhere. I'm sure it's cheap by now, especially on eBay, but don't get it twisted. Just because I don't have a physical copy doesn't mean that this film isn't impactful in some way. I think that this is Margot Robbie's probably her best performance. I know Barbie came out. I know how we feel. That's a great film. But, man, this one just looks like she was having probably the most fun. For 2021, I'm going to go with the Netflix release, Don't Look Up. If you're wondering how I got it, it's simple. eBay, folks. This film is awesome. Especially in an election year, which currently speaking it is for us in America. This one is something I could just put on and just have a ball with. We're almost there, folks. We only have a couple more years left. Full disclosure, in 2022, this is just a bloated year when it comes to movie releases, so bear with me here. I have a total of 5 selections from 2022. Yes, if you can believe that. We're going to go with 4 honorable mentions and then 1 official choice here. We have Jordan Peele's Nope, which so goddamn rewatchable for me. I fucking love this movie. Everything, everywhere, all at once. This is, I don't know, almost a perfect film. It covers just about everything. There's so much going on behind this. We're going to go through it one day. Just, oof, you got to bear with me. Next up, another certified banger, which I saw this movie twice in theaters. Top Gun Maverick. Folks, I feel a little bit of goosebumps on me right now, if I'm being honest with you. This one, it might be TC's best film. I don't know. I can't quite say it just yet because it's only 2 years old. And with that being said, my last honorable mention for 2022. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. People, do not be deceived. And if I'm being honest with you, this is a really special movie to me anyway because I did my very first movie review on this particular film. Sure, it's a more primitive version of this current show, but you gotta start somewhere, and Puss in Boots will always be that jumping off point for me. There's no way around it. But after all those things I have to say about those 4 films, which there's a lot going on, I'm gonna add a little bit more to this selection right here. 2022's The Batman. I saw this film 4 times in theaters. 2 of those times I was alone for. So I talk about movies that are intimidating for me to review. This is definitely one of them because I don't know where to start. I really don't. This is next level shit to me. Moving on to last year's 2023, which also in my opinion was kind of a stacked year. Honorable mention, I'm gonna go with Barbie. This one it's iconic for its own reason. It's still really new and fresh, but I really do think this is gonna hold up 10, 20 years later. I just can't wait to see what that landscape of the world will be once we get to that phase. But yeah, this is absolutely a banger. Call me woke all you want. I adore that film. When I say that, let it be clear that these next 3, these are also really special films. Now, I've done reviews on 2 of these next 3. First up, They Clone Tyrone. This is also one of those weird ones I got from eBay that's like a Netflix exclusive. This one is all about embracing the stereotypes that hold us back in some ways. This is all about taking those and just using them to actually lift you up. There's not enough time for me to dedicate to this film. I did do a review on that, so if you're interested in They Clone Tyrone, check that one out. Next up, I have what I considered my first favorite movie of last year, Evil Dead Rise. I've actually been meaning to do a dedicated video review on this. I wanted to do a 1 year later retrospective. Yeah, I know it's not much time there, but still stand on that. This is amazing. I don't know what to tell you. I don't change my mind. Watch it. Everything that I would complain about that's in a normal horror film, very smartly they put it in the script. Like, why don't they use the steps? Well, fuck, the steps are gone. Why don't they just yell outside? Well, there's a huge storm and there's no one there. There's shit like that. Just I hold this in just super high regard, and easily my favorite in this franchise. I can't wait to see where we go from here. And then on a completely different level, in December of 2023, there was this little film called Wonka that released. I've already done 2 videos on this film. One was a out of the theater reaction, and then one was a proper review. Check those out. This film really helped me through a difficult time, if I'm being honest with you. And the soundtrack, let me say, this came out at a time when I was relocating jobs as one was shutting down. I mentioned in the video about how every day my prep tasks would get shorter and shorter, and just less things to do. It really did help me cope, and frankly now I'm at a new job, and if I'm being honest, it's not still put together. Things are still a bit of a shit show. I don't know, folks, but Wonka helped me through a lot, and I can't disregard that at all. So with that being said, we are currently now in 2024. As of this upload, I am now 30 years old. I don't really have a lot to talk about as far as movies from this year. I gotta be honest. I think so far this one's been a stinker. I've seen King Kong vs. Godzilla, The Fall Guy, Madam Web, Dune 2, Furiosa, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And with that being said, outside of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, that's probably the best film I've seen all year so far. Now, to be fair, we're only about halfway through, and you know, Deadpool Wolverine still hasn't released. There's a lot more coming out this year that I'm really interested in. Honestly, this would be a good year for me to catch up on shit and do a bunch of episodes of Old Habits Die Hard, The Shit Show. This hasn't been a great year for new movie reviews, at least for me. So, you know, with that being said, there's plenty more down the line, of course. We're not stopping anytime soon. But, you know, it's been a rough year. Madam Web was an experience that I can't put behind me. I don't know if I want to rewatch it. There's still so much more coming out. I'm gonna hold my breath here. Frankly, folks, I'm gonna be honest with you. Don't tell anyone. It's just between me and you, okay? I'm fucking terrified. In all honesty, folks, I am named after my grandpa and my father, who have since passed. If I'm not mistaken, my grandfather also passed in his early 50s. My dad was almost 52 when he passed. If I'm being honest, folks, you know, there's a lot more I want to do with this life before we check out. What we're doing right here, if I'm being honest with you, I don't want to get sad and sappy, but this is kind of my dream. I just want to interact with folks, talk about movies and games. I'm not looking to work as a doctor who saves your life or nothing like that. I'm just here to share my experiences, and you know, I want to get personal. I really want to build this community up. So if you're a first-time viewer, please leave a comment. Like, I reply to everyone, even the hateful ones. And best believe I get those too. But for the most part, this community that I am building with some of you, thank you once again. This community I'm super fucking grateful for. And whether I'm 29 or I'm 39, from the bottom of my heart, people, thank you so much. You know, honestly, I'm just another neckbeard on the internet. I don't understand the appeal. At this point, I have 400 subscribers. No one's getting taken for granted. And just thank you. Thank you so much. Before it gets sad and sappy, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. I'm probably somewhere just crying. The day of my birthday, I will be at work from about 9 to 5:30. So, you know, in a way, I'll be distracted for the most part. But once I get home and things start to get settled in, I don't know how I'll feel personally. And I don't want it to seem like that's a huge problem that you need to worry about, folks. Just life is short, you know. We all have to deal with our own mortality in one way or another. So, with that being said, I've been the Bad Habits, aka TBH, and I'm 30 years old. And I'm signing out. Deuces.